So we're in a series called Hopeless, and the big question is, what do we do when our backs are against the wall, right? What do we do when there's lots of questions without answers and lots of problems without solutions, when there's no way forward, no way out? What do we do when there's nothing we really can do or anyone can do to change the circumstances of our lives? Is there any hope in those kind of moments? And we're saying, yeah, there is. This is our third week. We're saying, yes, there is, but it's not easy. We got to learn some things. We need to understand and embrace the fact that sometimes God, his actions or inactions seem inconsistent with a loving God. That's just true. And that we tend to trust God. We need to be fair with God. We tend to trust him to the extent that he does what we expect and want him to do. And that this hopelessness really grows in this gap that exists between what we need to happen in our life and what God actually does. Not what he promises us, but what he actually does. And then a part of us finding hope is learning to turn that around and learn to try to trust in the promises of God as much as we trust in his performance too. And so that's kind of the journey we've taken. Hope you go back and watch that if you haven't been able to catch it. But today we're going to turn the corner a little bit. And today I want us to talk about something that I think is directly connected to the hopeless that a lot of us feel inside. And it's this thing called contentment. Contentment. See, I don't know about you, but I've struggled my whole life being content. And I still do. Honestly, if I'm going to be honest with you, I still do. You just ask my wife, you ask my kids, you ask our elders, you ask our staff, you ask my friends. They'll tell you I still struggle with contentment. My story has been a story that is full of words and phrases to complete this sentence. I will be content when blank. I will be content when blank. When something happens in my life. When I marry a beautiful girl. When I graduate from officer candidate school in the Marine Corps. When I become a trial attorney. And when I make this much money, when I live in this kind of house, when I drive this kind of car, when I become a pastor, when I'm leading a successful and growing church, I got lots of answers, lots of words and phrases that would fit in that blank. And here's the thing that I've experienced. It never came true. Not those things all came true, but the contentment that I expected to follow that never came through. And here's what I've discovered on my journey. Not only does the contentment not come when life is bad, and when we're struggling through difficulties and challenges in our life, like a lot of us are struggling with as we sit here this morning, not only does it not naturally come when life is bad, it doesn't necessarily naturally come when the good things that we want to happen in life either. That's my story. How about you? It's kind of a mystery, isn't it? So what is it? Right? Well, what's going on here? What is the secret of contentment? Is it possible for you and me to be content and to have hope regardless of what life is throwing at us? Is it possible for you and me, as we sit here today, to be unconditionally content? It doesn't matter. We're just content. Is it possible for us to be unconditionally content? That's the question. Kind of on the floor today, and it's a very important question. Here's why I think it's so important. Because I think it's impossible for unconditional contentment and hopeless to coexist. I think it's impossible for unconditional contentment, if we can get there, and hopeless to coexist. I don't think it's possible. And so, listen, I'm not up here today telling you I'm unconditionally content and you need to be like me. No, I'm not. My guess is most of us not. Most of us are not. Most of us are miles away from that. And so here's what I'm suggesting to you today. If there is a way, somehow, some way, we can figure this thing out, if we can unlock the code, if we can find this piece of the puzzle, if we can solve this mystery, it has the potential to change everything in your life and in mine. So that's why I want to spend the rest of our time together today talking about it. So